Hello and welcome to another edition of QB1 with quarterback expert Crissy Froyd, and she is here to talk about Georgia Bulldogs quarterback Stetson Bennett. Crissy, do you feel Stetson Bennett is kind of like underrated heading into the 2022 season?
Yes and no, to be honest with you, because this is a quarterback that started as a walk-on, has obviously made some huge strides to have brought a team to a national championship and won it. But at the same time, he's just honestly so polarizing because you have people on both sides of the spectrum. There are some that say, well, this is a quarterback that brought a team to a national title. The other quarterback got benched and he came in for him and did everything that he needed to, and that he didn't get the same amount of reps last year, and that he was still able to accomplish this, and this quarterback is overall accurate, can do a lot of things with his legs, and that is true. But then you have the people on the other side of it that say that this is a very underdeveloped decision maker who just made some boneheaded decisions in some really critical times, and that there were several games in which maybe Georgia, the defense did the job and they won in spite of Stetson Bennett and some of these offensive struggles that were attributed to him. And so I think that the middle ground is where you find the truth in who this quarterback is. And I think that the big thing we're going to be watching this year is, now that he goes in as the sure starter and now that he has more reps than he did, and he's in a more solid place and is looking to make more strides, which is why he returned to Georgia. And he said so himself. Is this a quarterback that can fix those critical decision-making errors that seem to happen at the worst times possible and then rise? But I think this is a quarterback that, when you look at most rankings, is typically around 15 to 20.
And you mentioned him being so polarizing. Talk to me more about that. Like, how much of this polarization from him and the viewing of him, how much is it like you said, the decision making, those kind of things, the mind of it? How much is the physical? How much is it maybe opportunities given? Like, why is he so polarizing?
Yeah, I think it's just because whenever you have a quarterback that has led a team to the promised land and has completed the job, there's so many times that quarterback is the MVP for a reason, and everyone thinks that he's so great. But I think with Stetson, especially when you look at that postseason run, there were some times that he put him in really bad positions with some of the decisions that he made. But at the same time, like I said, he did lead them to a national championship and did get the job done to win it. So I think that you just kind of look at some of those sore spots within there and how much of them can be attributed to him. And I think that there's also the question of, was it just because he didn't have the proper amount of reps under his belt? Is it as simple as that? And can they work that out of him? And I think that there are people that are very split on the answers as to what those questions are. And so I think that's why you have someone who's as polarizing as Stetson Bennett is here.
Knowing all that, can Bennett elevate his stock, his value into an early NFL draft pick, which is the goal for all these quarterbacks? Or is he more viewed as like a game manager type, which is a very unsexy term going into the NFL?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who see him as a mid-ceiling prospect or so, kind of fitting that game manager role. But whenever you look at what the modern NFL desires, which is a quarterback who is good from the pocket but can also move when asked for, he has a lot of elements of that. And so it's going to come down to what he shows this season. Is Stetson Bennett being very disrespected at this point after he's won a national championship, done the best thing you can possibly do at the college level against a really good team like Alabama is, who's been so dominant? Or is he just kind of sitting there and factoring into the offense while everyone else is kind of elevating the team, and that's kind of why they won it? So I think it's going to depend on just how he performs this season. But I think that with more reps under his belt, his desire to improve on what he's been working on, I think that there's a good chance that this quarterback could rise a lot higher than people have him projected right now. But it's going to come down to what he does from a mental aspect this year.
You can't do much better than winning a championship, beating Alabama. But what is the outlook for Bennett and Georgia this season? Can they do it again, which is still a rare feat in this sport outside of Alabama?
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do, but I think that Georgia has a lot of really good talent on both sides of the ball, and that if Stetson Bennett takes a step forward, there's no reason to believe that they can. Now, I think that Alabama is the heavy favorite. You've got other teams in there like Ohio State with C.J. Stroud that are going to be really hard to push out of the way and to top. But Georgia's done it one time. They have a quarterback who has flashed that can develop some more, and then some talent on both sides of the ball. So I think there's absolutely no reason to count them out. And I think they'll still make it really far this year, regardless of where they go.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more QB1.